Welcome everybody, this is Jason and the name of this week's workshop is Positive Thinking Part 2. This is all about posing with objects. So we have an object, we need to create a pose around it. So let's have a look. What a pose box is. A pose box is an in-game sim-controlled object that, upon being given a set of instructions, puts your sim in a specified pose or releases the sim from that pose. What's different about posing with objects? For poses that are intended to be used with objects, it's first necessary to extract the object template as an OBJ and then import it into the pose template. So we're importing the object and we're building the pose around it. We'll look at that a bit later. So to get started, we open the object. We need to extract the object template first. We open the object, we select the GMDC in the resource tree, then once again in the resource list. Then in the GMDC's plugin, we click on that export. We're exporting as an OBJ. We just save that wherever. We save that in our project folder so that we can use it later. Once we've exported that template, we open Milkshape and we open one of the posing templates. I've provided posing templates in the resource post. We're not entering animation mode yet. Then we go import wavefront object. We import the object that we extracted, then we enter animation mode. And as you can see, this was just a simple table. Now we're ready to articulate the new pose. When you're done, select animate, set keyframe, and save the file in Milkshape so you can edit it later. And look at that glorious pose. Then we go to File, Export, select Sims to AniMesh Exporter. We give the pose a unique name with no spaces. Then we need to make sure that the export pop-up is set up just like this. We're exporting, we make sure that as ANIM type, we've got body animation selected in the dropdown, and we just export. And let's put it into practice. So the first thing that we need to do is extract a pose template. So we go open, we go to my Positive Thinking Workshop folder, and let's start with Girl Spike. So we open Girl Spike. I've already done this, but just so that we see the entire process. We'll go to GMDC. We select the GMDC in the resource list, give it a quick preview so that we can see what we're exporting. Then I go export. And I'm just going to save that right over Girl Spike. And let's do the same thing for Tractor. Tractor is just another pose object that I built randomly for this workshop. So our tractor looks kind of like that. It's the funky old farm tractor, and we save that right over Tractor. Okay. Well, that's not good. I think it's just because, oh, okay, yeah, that is a super high poly object, so we should only put one of those on the lot. We've exported our objects. Now we can mess with them in Milkshape. So first, we need to open an animation template. So I go to my workshop folder. Let's just do the base male template. Before we enter animation mode, we go File, Import, Wavefront Object, and we import girl spike. Okay, now we enter animation mode. We just click that animation button and we're ready to pose. So start with the root trans. I think we need him up slightly. I'm going to do a different pose in this workshop because I've already done just the regular riding pose a couple of times. So I'm going to put him here. And then we can start posing the individual joints. So I think maybe start with spine 0. We rotate. We make sure that we're set on local here. Okay, and then maybe the legs. Should probably rough in the legs before I mess with the upper torso. So this one, knee needs to come up a little bit. And then the calf needs to rotate back, maybe a little higher. Yeah, that's really... Maybe we need to move the whole body back a little bit. So we select that root trans once again. This time we go to move. Yeah, we just zip that back a little bit. Now his leg's in a relatively good position. But because it's a girl's bike and this is an adult frame, it's a lot bigger. So let's just, whoa, that's moving. That's not rotating. So I need to go back to model and go to the rotate tab. Then we just rotate that thigh out a little bit and it looks like his foot is clipping into the pedal. So we kind of need to scoot his foot up just a little bit. And then if you go to the 3D viewport and zoom in a bit, you can see what's happening. So just a little bit more. Okay. Then we go to the other thigh. We go to the right thigh. And let's just roll that thigh out just a little bit. So he's touching the pedal. And that's pretty close. Maybe just bend the calf just a tiny bit so that the foot's, maybe go the whole thigh. Just roll it forward a bit. And then take the calf back a little bit. There we go. And what happens when we do this? It's not horrible. It actually looks pretty good. So we've got the legs roughed in. Now, let's do the neck and the head. So it looks like he's actually looking forward, not down. Okay, we're not going to mess with the rest of the spine. I think we can do it with just the arms. So we grab the right upper arm and let's roll it this way first. No, that's not right. Let's roll it forward first. And let's move the left upper arm about the same in that same kind of general direction. When I'm posing something fairly symmetrical, I like to do it in steps. Like I will move the right arm and then the left arm about the same amount. Okay, so we roll that left upper arm down. Then we roll the right upper arm down about the same amount. So here, he's kind of missing the handlebars. So what we need to do about that we roll the upper arm out and do the same with that upper arm about the same amount. Then we bend the elbow in. Still not quite on target. We need to mess with that. That's left forearm, so we need to do the same with right forearm. Yeah, that's not quite doing it. So let's take, yeah, that might be it. Right upper arm, then left upper arm, just roll those back. Is it there? No, it's that way, definitely. Just get those about even. And that looks like it puts his hand in almost the right position. We do need to do some fine tuning. Right upper arm. Okay, and maybe just take that in just a tiny bit. It doesn't have to be perfect. We can fine tune it later. Yeah, let's do the same here. Whoa, that's a little much. Right about there. Can see his hands clip into the handle grips. So take it forward. And sorry. Do the same on the other side. Just nope. On the right upper arm. Just take it forward a bit. Okay, we're close. But we need to go down just a bit on the upper arm. That's fine. We will fine tune the elbows. So the upper arm has to go in just a little bit so that he's grabbing the handles in the right position. That's pretty close. Now I think we can work on the hands. So in your 3D viewport, you have to really close in so we get a good view of the hand. And then we just start to fine tune it. That looks pretty good. Now, the tricky part. Thumbs are always going to give you a hard time. They never look exactly the way in a game that they do in Milkshake. So we start with our thumb 0. And in the side viewport, we just roll that kind of back to about there. Now we need to open that because it's going to close some when you get it in game. So, and I make it look easy because I have years of experience doing like the grips on swords and maces and stuff. So I kind of know where it needs to be, but but no matter what, you still have to fine tune. The thumb is a lot of trial and error. So we bend thumb 0, we bend thumb 1, we bend thumb 2. Now let's fine tune the fingers. The fingers are pretty much what you see is what you get. So we bend in that finger. We bend in to roll it a little bit just so it's not. Yeah, that's good. And then the mid finger, no, not that way. Just kind of need to bend that in. And mid one goes in a little. bending. Yep. So right hand looks pretty good. Let's move on to the left hand. Or sorry, the left hand looks good. Let's move on to the right. So roll that out. And this forearm, we might need to shoot it forward a little bit, just like that. That's fine. Poses ideally shouldn't be perfectly symmetrical. So if it's not symmetrical, don't worry about it too much. I think that needs to come up a little bit. And then the forearm needs to come down. And that's as good as it gets. So move that hand back, or out, I should say. Just like that. Then we need to roll thumb 0. So we roll thumb 0 kind of that way. And then we just, we need to open thumb 0 a little bit. So nope, we roll it out that way. And then we need to close thumb 1 and thumb 2. So kind of like that. Then it's just the fingers. Close it. Just make sure we've got a nice good grip on the handlebar. So we just close it. Then we go to the 1 joint, mid 1, roll that in. Then mid 2. And how does it look from the side? Close that up just a little bit. That's pretty good. Now let's maximize that view. Yeah, that's not bad. Then we go animate, set keyframe, and that should change the entire pose to yellow like that. So it looks like he's about to pop a sick wheelie on his niece's bike. Go File, Save As. Just going to call this sick wheelie. Let's go on to the tractor. So we go New. This time I will start with the female anim. Make sure you're not in animation mode. Looks like I still am. Then we go File, Import, Wavefront, and let's go with the tractor. That one, whoa. It is kind of a high poly model, so it's probably going to do that. Wouldn't worry about it too much.
Mine did not do that, but it did take a hot minute to open.
Yeah, I think that's too huge. Hey folks, Editing Jason here. So as you can see in the workshop, I had some issues with the tractor mesh. What I did, I trimmed off the wheels, which are the majority of the polys, and re-imported it. But I had already moved the root trans joint and the legs just so that the sim was kind of in position when I started again. So that's what we're going to look at now. Now I have a reduced poly model. Let's see if it plays nicely. Yeah, that's a lot kinder. We go to ANIM. And she is roughed into the seat, but yeah, you can see that now that the Iron Throne is out of the way, yeah, her thighs are super huge. Maybe we go to the root trans. And we go to move. And we just scoot her butt all the way back on the seat. Because, yeah, that seat is a little bit small. Now, she has access to the pedals. There, we go back to rotate, and let's rough in the thighs. Yeah, to hit the
Question really
pedals, her
quick.
leg has to go way out. And actually might need to roll it this way, kind of. Yeah, that's funky. If this were an actual object that I were making, I would probably reshape the tractor because it's not ideal for making poses, but that's fine because and let's expand that to see what it looks like. Yeah. I think with the template that I have, I did the best that I could, but it's not great. It's not a work of art. So we go set keyframe, save as, tractor. Tractor is fine. Then we go file, export, Sims 2 AniMesh ANIM exporter. And we're going to call this driving dash tractor. Export. And, oh, so your question, Rachel, was about exporting. So let's go back to sequely for a minute. So we animate. Then we go file, export, Sims 2 AniMesh exporter. And we give that a name. The way that I export and the way that I believe everyone should, it looks like this. So in our anim type, we're always going with body animation, not body overlay. No locomotion. Leave things as they are. We don't need to mess with anything else. We just export. So I already went into the details of building an animation in the last workshop. So we're going to take our test pose box. This is the one I called test pose box 2. I built it last week. We go to our anim resource. We select either of the anims in the resource list. And the way that I like to do this, if you have an existing pose box, right click, clone. Then select the cloned resource, the one that's italicized, right click, replace. And let's add sequely. Then clone again, right click, replace, driving tractor. Give that a quick save. Now, because fixed TG, I know everyone wants to hate on the fixed integrity operation, but for me, it seems more reliable than fixed TGI if you're adding multiple animations. So we go tools, object tools, fix integrity. We don't mess with the scene graph name. We don't click update, we just click OK. If you mess with this, it will rename all of your existing poses. Give that a quick save. Then, if you're adding tons of poses, like the overlay box that I did yesterday, best practice is just to copy these onto a notepad. We only have 2 today, so it's probably not a huge deal, but this is the way that I like to do it for big projects. We copy the names of the ANIM onto a notepad. Then we select the STR, just as we did last week. We'll select ANIM's adult, that's the instance value 21 in the resource list. Then we go down, after a male model, we go down to our first placeholder. We're going to change that placeholder to sequely. Then copy driving tractor. We paste that under sequely. Just like that. That's the STR. Then we go to behave. And I already have these set up as test pose. So test pose 3 already appears as sequely. So we're going to rename that as sequely. Let's open the pop-up wizard. Our priority is medium. It is not flipped. Everything looks good. So we can just commit this. In one of the other 2 workshops, I will go into a little bit more depth about coding a pose behave from scratch, because I haven't covered that. Right now, we're just going with the posebox template, which is fine. Then we look at test pose 4. We change the name of test pose 4 to driving tractor. Give that a quick commit. Double check in the pop-up wizard. Everything looks good. We're done with our behaves. We go to the t-task. In the t-task, I'm just going to add sequely. I'm not going to add the sub-levels because there aren't that many poses in this box, but if you want to get fancy, you can add this ... and then after the ... / you add the name of your pose, and that will give you a sub-level in the object menu. But we don't really need that. Then we name the second one driving tractor. Give that a commit. That's the t-task. We say the t-task, last step, t-tab. We go to the t-tab, make this bigger. And we've got this model pose, hand over stomach. I don't know why I didn't enable that one for teens. So we go add. And then in the pie menu, we go to string 6, which is sequely. And then we change the action behave to 6, which is also sequely. Then we add. And we change the pie string ID to 7, which is driving tractor. We change action behave to driving tractor. Then, because I am very extra, I like all of my poses to appear before the face overlays in the box. So I just move this string up above the face overlays. Yes, I am super extra. Have you not seen any of my pose boxes. They're really organized. I'll have sometimes up to 100 and some poses, and they're all very logically organized. So we commit, we save, and that's it. We are now ready to test. Okay, so we've got the test pose box. We've got the two sims that we're going to play the test poses on. So we select Chris, and we have him do the sick wheelie pose. He's there. And then we grab Abby, and we have her do the driving tractor pose. And it's not great, but you can see the sick wheelie actually looks pretty good. But the tractor pose, that's just, this is maybe not the greatest posing object. And so it looks kind of wonky. If I do this workshop again, I will probably find a different tractor, because this is not a great posing object. But and let's have a look at the details. So his thumbs actually play pretty nicely. Maybe I know what the hell I'm doing after so many years of posing thumbs. And let's have a look at the details here. Yeah, her thumbs kind of suck, but that's mostly because of the object, not because of the pose. But that's pretty much it. That's how you would create poses with objects.